All right. The June 22nd, 2026 meeting of the Agenda Charter Committee shall come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Chairwoman Barnhart.
Here.
Chairwoman Barnhart is present. Mr. Baynes. Mr. Baynes. Mr. Baynes is present.
Sorry,
Mr. Blankley. Mr. Blankley is present. Mr. Chardy. Mr. Chardy is present. Mr. Long. Mr. Long is present. Mr. McCabe. Mr. McCabe is present. Mr. Milne.
Here.
Mr. Milne is present. Mr. Morris. Mr. Morris is present. Mr. Udelson. Mr. Udelson is present.
Is there anyone signed up for the public forum?
No, there's not.
All right. The next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. You have the March 24th, 2026 minutes before you. They stand approved unless the clerk is notified of any changes by the end of the day. The next item on the agenda is new business. Madam Clerk.
Referral 26-0180, local law requiring disclosure of biometric identification technology at retail establishments.
Moved by Legislator Baynes and seconded by Majority Leader Udelson. Before we get started, I'd like to recognize other legislators who can take part in this discussion. Legislator Nazish Jeffries, Legislator Marv Stepherson, Legislator Hasman, Legislator Howard Maffucci, Legislator Sue Hughes-Smith, and President Yversha Román. I'd also like to welcome to the podium Professor Jonathan Weissman from the Rochester Institute of Technology. He is a cybersecurity expert, and we're going to start off by just asking him a few questions about biometric technology, and he will be available throughout this hearing if anyone has any additional questions. Welcome, Professor Weissman. Thank you for being here. So the first question is, when we talk about biometric technology, what are we talking about?
We're talking about templates, mathematical templates, where your face is converted into, from an algorithm, a bunch of different templates that uniquely identify you.
Why should a person want disclosure? Why would they want disclosure that their information is being collected in this manner?
If the templates are not secured properly, they can be linked to other data sets, and people can impersonate you. They could use these linked databases to steal information from you. For instance, a template linked to an email address can be linked to personal information and financial information, and if these templates are in the wrong hands, other information can be compromised as such.
Professor Weissman, you've read the proposed legislation, and it requires retailers to store biometric information in a certain way. Can you explain what that would require retailers to do?
The templates can be stored in an anonymous fashion, and what's going to happen is these known templates that are associated, for instance, with shoplifters will be compared against customers entering the store, and if somebody's dynamically collected template matches a stored template, that person will be flagged and security will be alerted at that point.
Do we have reason to believe that most retailers are already doing this?
It's been more and more every day, every month, every year, the disclosure about all of the retailers that are using this and have been using this for quite an amount of time.
One final question, Professor Weissman. Do we know if retailers are storing our biometric information, those that are collecting it, in a way that you would consider secure?
They're not cybersecurity companies. They don't specialize in cybersecurity, so there's no way of knowing if they are doing their due diligence in terms of data storage and retention. But from what I've heard, they claim to keep the templates only for a limited amount of time and only collect a subset of templates to store.
All right, thank you so much for those explanations. Again, please feel free to ask Professor Weissman any further questions as I open this up for discussion. So is there any discussion?
So, Professor, I have no expertise in this area, so thank you for assisting me. What do you mean when you say they anonymize this algorithm or this data, and then they de-anonymize it when it's triggered? In other words, so I know, for instance, Mrs. Baynes, who's much better looking than I am, identifies herself or opens her phone by looking at it, right? And I don't do that. But, so if somebody gets this data, they can de-anonymize it, and then they could use that image for the reasons you said, or to open the phone, or, for instance, when I travel, I have Trusted Traveler card, and I have global entry, so they use my face for identifying me. That, unfortunately, I can't avoid. So when I cross the border or I'm traveling internationally, again, explain a little bit more about the anonymization and the de-anonymization, and then the utilization. That's a lot of zation, but the utilization of the image, please.
As I tell all my students, great question. Absolutely.
I'm a teacher too, so I try to ask good questions.
Now, these retailers are claiming the main reason.
Professor Weissman, if you could hold on just a second. Legislator McCabe?
Can we flip the gallery view so Legislator Milne can be seen? He's the big picture. The gallery should be smaller since he's part of this committee,
Sure.
so we can be seen and heard if he has something. Thank you.
Deputy Clerk Mulcahy? Got it, thank you. Continue, Professor Weissman, sorry about that.
No problem. The main reason for the biometric collection from these retailers, what they've been saying, has been data loss prevention. They don't want to have stolen goods on a constant basis. Depending on how they set up their system, it's either going to be anonymous from the start or not anonymous from the start, which means if they are truly collecting the templates, and they're not images, it's not a picture of somebody, it's not a picture, it's not an image, it's just how far your nose is from your cheekbone, from your ear, and supposedly that will uniquely identify only you, barring any false positives or false negatives. So if this anonymized data is being stored, somebody gets a hold of this database, you can't pinpoint this to Bob Smith or some other person. You can't associate the mathematical templates by themselves to somebody else. But when new customers are entering the store, their face is being scanned, and that live scan is being, at the moment, live compared to the templates with known shoplifters. And if the dynamic scan of the new customer entering the store matches the store template of a known shoplifter, security is alerted right away.
Okay, so as follow-up, this legislation doesn't stop that, does it? If you had a chance to read it over?
Yeah, the technology is not necessarily the object in question right now. It's the storage, it's the retention, it's the security, it's the linkage among systems that is of utmost concern.
Correct. So I'm trying to drill down on maybe yes or no here, through the chair, I should be saying, shouldn't I?
Yes.
To our witness, I mean, our testifier, I'm not sure what your title is here, but our expert. But the practice of triggering an alert is not altered by this legislation, yes or no? In other words, we're not stopping them from doing that.
Correct. It's what happens with the templates after they're collected, how long they're stored for, how they're protected, and how they might be linked to other data sets.
Thank you.
And I just want to follow up, thank you, Legislator Baynes. I just want to follow up. Functionally, retailers can still use biometric data collection for safety purposes. The requirements in this legislation does not stop them from doing that. It also does not render these systems moot. Right? Okay.
And also a side note, for instance, biometrics, when you unlock your phone, that data is, those templates are stored on your phone. They're not transmitted to any server. It's a little bit different now because now we have some company that's actually storing your biometric data as opposed to it being resident on your phone on a local device.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? Legislator Charity.
Yes, so with regards to the anonymous face recognition, if, say that a person is flagged, like you said, will security then have that person's name, or does it remain anonymous until they actually approach the person?
So it's a great question, and it boils down to what the retailer is doing. It's up to the retailer to store a name with the template or to not store a name or some other form of an identifier with the template. If they don't, then it's just some facial algorithm-generated data.
Wouldn't this legislation make it so that it has to be anonymous, whether or not it's flagged or not?
Absolutely.
So what if the person were to enter the store, it's flagged, steal something, leave, and not get caught? How would you know who he is?
So I like to make the analogy that the facial recognition collection, the biometric collection, is the alert, and the video evidence, that's the video, that's the actual evidence.
Yeah, but if the biometric law, if the law enacted says that the security can't know that person's name, how are they going to track that person down
So if
they can't access that information?
when there's a match, and there have been known cases of false positives where people have been incorrectly matched with flag templates, that's where security swoops down and investigates on the spot at that point.
Okay, so I do this for a living. There's multiple shoplifters that either through notice burgs, meaning they have a notice that requires them not to enter the store, right? Go and enter a Wegmans or a Walmart or most likely a Home Depot, correct?
Right.
And they leave. Security won't stop them. Cashiers won't stop them. All right? How is that company going to figure out who it is if we enact a law that says that they can't know who that person is?
From the data itself, from the facial recognition data, you won't be able to know, but after there's an incident,
Okay, so that person's going to be allowed just to go out in the community, go to the next Lowe's, and we hope that the next Lowe's he gets caught.
Well-
Can I give you a prompt on that? I think what the professor is saying is the biometric data by itself is a mathematical template. It only tells you so much. You also have to use it in concert with video evidence of the actual person, which we know they have on file.
But if there is a tool that allows them to know their name immediately, wouldn't this legislation not allow them to understand, to know their name?
shoplifters will be on a particular, they'll be on a particular list, no entry. They will be flagged, their name will be flagged at that time, but that will be a separate list independent of the actual biometric data.
So,
I think, yeah. Legislator Charity, I think you're getting really to the legislative intent of that clause in the legislation requiring the anonymization of the data that is being collected. The intent of the legislation is not to say you can't have a profile on a shoplifter.
I understand, but if they don't know prior to stopping through the chair, they don't know the person prior to stopping them, they may never find out if that person leaves the store. That's what I'm getting at.
I don't necessarily accept that premise because of the other evidence available. Are there any other legislators that would like to weigh in? I'm sorry, Legislator Stepherson.
I don't know so, and help me after this, with the process of the anonymization, the identification or identifying factor that takes place is done once the person is, say,
Point of order.
or identified. And
Point of order. I'm sorry, Legislator McCabe. I don't know who that
He's
is.
not on the committee, and he's not.
I've
sponsored
recognized.
But he's not a sponsor of the legislation, and he's not on the committee. I mean, if you have somebody on the committee you want to recognize, like Dr.
I understand. I did recognize all the legislators here, and some are sponsors. So I will accept your point of order. And I'm sorry, Legislator Stepherson, that I did not realize that my recognition of you was not proper at the beginning of the
That's the whole part of the technology
Yeah.
nowadays. So I'll finish
so-
my question.
Yeah, so legislator, you can't speak during
Oh, I
this.
can't. Okay, then.
Yeah, that was the point of Legislator McCabe's point of order, because you're not a co-sponsor of the legislation. So
Thank you.
Dr. Jeffrey can speak, and I think she's the only one outside of the Agenda Charter Committee who is a sponsor of the legislation. Dr. Jeffrey, if you would like to say anything.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the questions. I think they are legitimate, and they're good questions too, because it is an important factor for us to consider the safety and the ability of these organizations and these companies to be able to protect their assets is important for everybody. And this legislation is not meant to curtail that. It is meant to protect the identities of the people that go and shop there and disclose that this is happening. The most important part of this legislation is the disclosure part of it. The anonymization part of it is coincided with other pieces of evidence that come into light when something occurs, like a theft. There's video evidence that occurs as well that can be coincided to help with the biometric data template identification of these personnels that are involved in the theft. It's important for us to remember that this is more for the security of the people that come into any store that is using these types of biometric identification factors, and to make sure that their data is not going out into the world unprotected. This is by no means meant to curtail what stores can do and should do to protect their assets. We are strongly for that. But what is important is making sure that if these stores have our data, that if for whatever reason it gets hacked, someone's able to access it inappropriately, that this is not used to either take over someone's identity, be able to impersonate them. In this world of AI, it can also be used for deep fakes and whatnot. And so this is what this legislation is meant to do. But the understanding that, it doesn't necessarily make it more difficult. It makes it what we have been doing previously before biometric data was even a part of a security system. So it's just like how they would track down that individual prior to having a template. And as the professor so kindly said, it is a way to alert the security that something is going on in order to involve potentially police ahead of time before they even exit the building. We're not saying the security officers need to address or challenge the person that's involved in the crime, but police can be notified sooner as it's happening. Thank you.
Legislator Baynes?
Thank you, Ms. Chairwoman. Through you to our professor. Do you study the criminal cases or any criminal? I know you're not an attorney, are you?
No.
But in your work as a researcher, do you read cases where criminal court judges have made decisions around admissibility of this data? And of course, when a judge makes a decision around admissibility, they do that in part based on the industry standard of reliability. For instance,
Sure.
The breathalyzer had to be established as a reliable, device. It took a while to do it before it would be admitted in court. So to my colleague's counselor point, what I'm asking is, given the false positives, can you tell me in your research if you've run into that and what courts have ruled around admissibility in a criminal proceeding? It could be a grand larceny or a case.
Yeah, again, I want to stress that the biometrics is not necessarily the evidence itself. The video captures the evidence. The biometrics are going to serve as alerts, and if somebody walks into the store matching a template that's associated with shoplifting, that allows the store security to swoop in and stop the person from entering the store at that time. There's been lots of cases of false positive. Rite Aid historically has had bad issue with false positives, and they were forbidden to use biometrics for quite a number of years because of it. Caused embarrassment and loss of reputation for people that were detained incorrectly because the biometric match was incorrect.
So through you, Ms. Chairwoman, so you're not aware of any time when a district attorney was able to make this part of the prima facie case against the defendant by getting this admitted into evidence? The evidence was always what was seen and what was testified to by either video or human observation.
That's correct. There have been no known cases of that.
Thank you.
Is there any other discussion? Legislator McCabe.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I have several questions. Through the chair to the sponsor,
Could you use your mic? I don't think.
through the chair to the sponsor, what specific problem in Monroe County is this local law responding to?
Sure, I can take that one.
Perfect.
Thank you for the question. This legislation came about because after the first week of January, a Wegmans store in New York City posted a disclosure that they were collecting biometric data from customers. Media in New York City reported on that sign, and it made its way up to the Rochester area. And I heard from a number of constituents, and I know my colleagues did as well, who were very alarmed that retailers, including Wegmans, were collecting this data potentially without their knowledge. And so we looked at what New York City was doing, because Wegmans posted that sign in New York City because they have a law. In New York City, they've had this law since 2021 that if you are collecting biometric data, you do need to conspicuously post a sign. And we decided that this was something that we wanted to do here, that consumers have a right to know if establishments are collecting this unique data, because as Professor Weissman has said on WXXI in the past, if your password is hacked, you get an email and you are asked to change your password. If your face is hacked, if these templates are hacked, we don't have a remedy. I think we are doing the bare minimum here. Other communities, including the city of Syracuse and Erie County, have banned the collection of biometric data since this Wegmans incident happened in January. They have banned the collection of the data, not just disclosure. They have banned it entirely because they thought it was that serious. We're not doing that. We are saying that consumers have a right to know if it's happening and make a choice as to if they want to shop at that establishment. The problem it's solving is letting consumers exercise a choice.
So as a follow-up to that, is this legislation through the chair and to the sponsor, is this legislation modeled after New York City's legislation? So
It's-
you used New York
It
City's-
is.
Okay.
It is. The only difference between, and there have been a lot of other municipalities in New York State this year who have introduced biometric legislation to regulate biometric technology. And where they typically differ is if we're talking about disclosure or if we're talking about banning the collection, or both, and the enforcement mechanism. So the enforcement mechanism in this legislation is private right of action, which I'm surprised nobody asked about yet.
I got questions. Don't
I'm
worry,
sure
we'll
you
get
did.
there.
Yes, so Monroe County, we didn't want to create a new bureaucracy and cost, and that's why you see a private right of action instead of any other enforcement mechanism. So I would say those are some of the differences.
Thank you. And through the chair, or to the sponsor as well, can the sponsors identify any Monroe County businesses that have misused or sold biometric information?
Legislator McCabe, I cannot, but here's the thing. Wegmans is the only retailer that has really been under scrutiny for this because they complied with the law downstate in New York City. And I wrote Wegmans a letter and I asked them which stores are using this technology, what are you doing with the data? I asked a ton of questions. They didn't answer, but what they did do was they sent a statement to the media and posted it on their website about what they're doing with this data. And look, I believe Wegmans when they say this data is being used for security purposes only. We are not selling it. We are not sharing it. Okay, that's what they're doing today. Okay, but we don't know what Wegmans might do tomorrow. And we also don't know what other retailers are doing right now, because they don't have to post any signs, they don't have to tell us. And I can't emphasize enough that everyone could be doing everything tremendously great today, but we don't know what they're going to do tomorrow, especially as the technology evolves.
Very good. And then jumping ahead to your question about the lawsuits, et cetera, through the chair to you, are we concerned that this creates a new avenue for lawsuits against small businesses?
Well, certainly the retail sector is concerned about this. However, there is a cure period in this legislation. You, Legislator McCabe, if you think that a retailer is collecting your information without disclosing it, you can send them a letter. There's a whole prescribed process, and they have 30 days to comply. And if you believe that they have not complied, then yes, you have to go and sue them. But that 30-day cure period, I think, is tremendously fair to the retailers. And a private right of action is something that we see in other legislation across the country.
And through the chair, I guess again to you, the bill allows for statutory damages of $500 to $1,000 per violation. What precisely is a violation? What is one violation?
That would have to be up to a judge, because that is the only way to enforce this.
But doesn't that create an ambiguity with the law?
No, I mean, I think that
Because it's not defined.
a private right of action has to be litigated, and what a violation is would also have to be litigated. Clearly, if you are collecting biometric data and you're not disclosing it, that's a violation. Now, if a judge decides that you've violated this 1,000,000 times, that's for a judge to decide.
And through the chair to the sponsor, why are attorney's fees included in this law?
Well, because you, as a citizen, would be accepting a tremendous burden to bring a private right of action case. If you're successful, I think that you should get attorney's fees.
All right, very good. What other question do I have? Oh, let's see, there's so many. I'm going to skip that one. Why did we exclude government in the legislation through the chair?
Legislator,
Shouldn't we lead by example?
Legislator McCabe, governments and financial institutions were excluded because I believe federal law would preempt us from doing that. That was according to the research our staff did and that legislators did. We don't see in any of the comparable legislation that has been introduced and passed in New York State so far, governments and financial institutions have all been excluded.
Through the chair to the sponsor. The sponsor memo acknowledges that biometric technology may be used for fraud prevention, asset protection, but how does this law avoid discouraging businesses from using tools that help them stop theft and fraud?
Legislator McCabe, I think we just had an extensive conversation answering that question, so I really think that's been asked and answered, unless you have something far more specific.
Do you want to jump in?
Legislator Charity?
To the chair, to the sponsor, well, wouldn't this limit Wegmans' ability to prevent?
Legislator Charity, we just addressed that.
Asking the sponsor.
Sure. So our expert has explained that retailers can still use biometric data for loss prevention. If someone walks in a store and they get a hit that this template matches someone on their naughty list, then they can swoop in with their cameras, they can swoop in person and make sure that that situation is addressed.
They can't know their name.
Well, I am not an expert in loss prevention, but if I know if I have your video, extensive video of you, and you're already on my watch list, I think the odds are pretty good that we can identify that person.
Madam Chair? Point of order?
Yes.
I just am asking, one of the co-sponsors has arrived, Legislator Fraser, and I'm...
Yes, I'd like to recognize Legislator Fraser. So you are able to jump in, Legislator Fraser, and answer any questions as a sponsor.
I guess then through the chair to the sponsor, why wouldn't you just limit Wegmans' use of the biometric strictly for security rather than putting the anonymous caveat on this legislation?
I'd like to recognize Dr. Jeffries to take the answer to.
Thank you. To answer your question, and it is a good question, it is The anonymization is important because it allows for the safety of the consumer that is entering that store. It is not for deterrent of crime prevention. It is not to limit the security measures of those stores. The anonymization is purely if that data from that store gets leaked in any sort of manner, that it does not get back, can be traced back to an individual and misused in any way. Anonymization has been part of many different bills across different states, New York State including, and it's part, typically, a lot of, a professor could probably correct me on this or if I'm wrong, but I believe a lot of stores already use anonymization as part of their protocol to begin with. So anonymization is just ensuring that they're not, it is anonymized, there's no security risks down the line, but it's not preventing them from having this data, using this data for their benefit.
And if I may say something else, you can think of it as there's going to be a banned list of people who are not allowed in a store. The anonymized data is a separate list that flags somebody when they come in for immediate identification.
To the chair, to the sponsors, it seems to me that this anonymization allows the thief to be not recognized.
Legislator,
In some way, even if it's a limited way.
Legislator, is that a
I think-
question? Or is that, are you explaining your vote?
I'm not done, if I can finish. So I asked the sponsor, why should we limit a person who steals, robs, maybe is going to commit burglary by going to a local establishment who's not supposed to be there? Why should we limit security's right to catch that person?
So this is the
In any
last,
fashion.
Legislator Charity, this really has been asked and answered, but this is the last time I'm going to say something about it because I'm going to, our law enforcement personnel, Wegmans, they have plenty of tools at their disposal to identify these people, including biometric data. I will also say that TOPS has been quoted in the news media as saying that this is not the standard for loss prevention. They don't use it. And I think the bigger issue here is biometric data. This whole discussion has been focused primarily on public safety. But if you were to Google retailers and biometric data of customers, security is not the thing that these platforms are selling. The platforms that sell collecting your data are not selling "we'll catch your shoplifters." They're selling "we'll create a profile of your customer for you." That's what this is. That's what these tools are for. These tools are primarily not for public safety. These tools are primarily for things like surveillance pricing, which, yes, New York State just banned, but they didn't ban all forms of it. And, such as the electronic pricing on shelves is still going to be allowed. So this is complementary to that law if the governor signs it. There are so many other uses to this, and we think it's really, really important to put some guardrails up now.
Madam,
But through the
Ms.
chair
Chairwoman?
I got
What,
some more
I mean,
questions.
please don't repeat
Yes,
what's been
through the chair
asked.
to the sponsor, though. I guess shouldn't be, I agree with the sponsor relative to the concern about biometric identification, but shouldn't the enactment of a local law deal with the portion you just mentioned? Whether or not Wegmans is going to use that information to make a profile, to find a new purchaser, to, use my information in some way to help, to sell things. Shouldn't that be
Well-
the premise of this local law? Because to me, it's almost a caveat to keeping someone anonymous, and my concern is, I know you said don't go there again, but my concern is that thieves are going to be anonymous. So that I don't think we're disagreeing on the dangers of the biometric information. I think the disagreement comes with the framework of this local law.
Well, you identified one problem that the legislation is trying to solve, which is creating those profiles. But Dr. Jeffries has been very clear, and so has the professor. There are other problems too, such as the security of an individual's data and their right to decide if they want that data collected. So there could be some trade-offs here, sure. I don't think there are, I don't think there are, but your position, I understand.
Madam Chair, may I jump
Yes.
in? These are really valid points, and they should be noted, that then the biometrics data ultimately is that first flag that something is going on, whether that's that person has come in and they're going to definitely buy avocados, so increase the price of avocados, or if this person is going to come in and they're going to steal the avocados. So the thing here with the biometric data is that it's just an initial flag. It is not going to tell you that they stole, it's not going to show you evidence, and it's just going to give you an indicator that, hey, maybe we should watch this person a little bit more closely. That said, biometric data also has false positives, as the professor has mentioned as well. And so this also comes into keeping the anonymization part of it, where we want to make sure that people are not being falsely accused of any crime that they may or may not be committing. And to that end, Madam Chair, if I may also ask a question of the professor?
Sure. And then I'd like to try to bring this to a close. We've had a really great discussion.
There's
and
more questions.
Okay, as long as they're new and different ones, I think it's fair, I think it's fair that we keep going, but I just remind you to please be efficient. Yes, Dr. Jeffrey.
Professor, could you please talk a little bit about the false positives that are involved with biometric data? How prevalent are they? Have there been cases where false data has been used to wrongly identify a person in whatever manner?
The most prolific case was with Rite Aid a number of years back, one of the early introducers of biometric technology. And there are certain people, whether it's by gender or by color, that might be misidentified. And as a result, these people were flagged by security when they entered the stores. They were humiliated. They were in tears, and they were innocent. They didn't do anything wrong. And consider the effects that has on their mental health going forward, just being flagged and set aside by the store as they enter it and seeing everybody watch you.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion?
Yes.
Legislator Morris, you have not asked any questions yet.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you to yourself or any of the other sponsors, is there any specific instances you're aware of that this type of data from a business has been hacked and misused?
Professor, are you aware of any?
Well, that was to any of the sponsors. I asked that question. If any of the sponsors are aware of a specific instance.
Yes. Please direct through the chair.
Through the chair.
Yes. I am not aware of specific instances. I am aware of many false positives. Is there anyone else, including the professor, who is aware of any data that has been breached?
There actually have been a number of cases where that's been the case. For example, in 2024, biometric data from a facial recognition system used at bars and clubs in Australia was hacked. And more notably, in 2019...
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but in Monroe County, through the chair, in Monroe County.
Not that I'm aware of, in Monroe County.
Okay. That was my question.
If I could also,
Legislator, Dr. Jeffrey?
sorry, it's just to answer your question. While we may not know of any instances within Monroe County that have been hacked necessarily, this is more for prevention for future cases as our technology evolves and we have deeper understanding. We have AI capabilities that are coming online that are making it easier for people to have access to this. There's been many instances, I'm sure, within Monroe County, including where it's been shown that security measures for IT data is not up to snuff. And this is more for prevention, thinking ahead than necessarily addressing something that's already occurred.
Legislator Morris?
Again, Madam Chair, through you to any of the sponsors, what would a small business actually have to do to comply with this law on day one?
My understanding from reading our legislation is they would have to, if they are collecting biometric data, they would have to conspicuously post a sign at their entrance so that customers will be informed that they are collecting that data. They would also have to ensure that they are storing that data in the secure manner prescribed by the legislation.
Okay, and then just a follow-up to that, Madam Chair, through you to yourself or any of the other sponsors. What's the notification, and I'm sorry if I missed it in the legislation, that will go out to all businesses to make them aware that on this specific day, if you're not in compliance, then you're not in compliance and can be sued or what have you?
Certainly, this legislation is going to generate media coverage, which is a big form of notification. We will certainly ask the administration to post on the website that this is happening. We do not have in this legislation a budget to do other notification, but you're welcome to submit an amendment to do that. Yeah. Are there any other sponsors? Legislator Fraser, would you like to address this?
Yep, so one of the
Actually,
things,
I do still have the floor.
Yeah, but
Well,
said-
you asked if someone else wanted to answer.
You can finish your
You
question.
had chose to answer my question, so, I mean, I do have other questions, and I did have a follow-up to that one.
But you did say to the sponsors, and Legislator Fraser is the
Right,
sponsor.
and you as one of the sponsors answered, and I had
I'd
a
like to
follow-up
recognize
question.
Legislator Fraser and let him continue to.
Sure.
so good evening. So what I'm going to say is that we're talking, so one, this legislation hopefully will be a deterrent, because if I'm going around stealing and I know that they have one, I'm not going to want to go in that establishment. And the other thing is that the consumer, we want to give choice to the consumer, because these
Point of order.
cameras are
Point of
also
order.
going to
Madam
be.
Chair, point of order.
Yes.
With all due respect, my question was, what would businesses have to do to be in compliance on day one? And
I think your
I had a follow-up.
last question was about notification.
Yes, the notifications, and I
Yep, so
apologize if that's
there'll
not-
probably be a period that when it comes out, it'd be more of a warning, because we can't just say day one. You have to give people, and there's probably a period that there would be a warning to that business if they are out of compliance. Again, that is to be determined, working with administration.
So through you, Madam Chair, again, to Mr. Jeffries or any of their sponsors, is there anything in this legislation that for the businesses that are going to be required to comply on day one, that they will know on day one that they are
That
potentially
has been
not in
asked,
compliance?
Legislator, that's been asked and answered. There is
Right.
not,
You'd said media, right, I'm sorry.
there's nothing
There
in the
isn't.
legislation, but we all know that local laws don't take effect right away.
Okay. Again, follow some other questions through you, Madam Chair, to you or any of the other sponsors. Has anyone estimated the cost of compliance for a small business or any businesses to be in compliance with this?
I have not. I would like to ask the professor if you have any data on costs.
There's no data on cost, but you've got to imagine that deploying the biometric technology by itself is going to be very expensive.
Yeah. So is
right,
that
so-
question, I'm a sponsor,
Again.
may I answer that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the cost to businesses that choose not to collect biometric information is zero.
Again,
Legislator
another
Morris?
question. Yes. Through to you, yourself or any of the other sponsors, would businesses need to hire legal counsel to review whether their existing security systems, cameras, point-of-sale systems, or vendor software fall under this law?
Legislator Morris, that is up to the businesses to decide how they want to substantially comply. And I would also offer, if they are spending a lot of money on biometric software, that legal review would not be a huge additional cost for them.
I just to give you a heads up, I've got 4 more questions
That's
that I'd like
fine.
to
Thank
ask
you.
at this point. Through you again, Madam Chair, to you or any of the sponsors, does this law apply to a business that uses third-party software but does not directly control how that vendor processes data?
Yes. If you're collecting biometric data on your premises, you have to comply with this law, and most retailers would be using a third-party platform.
And again, through you, to yourself or any of the other sponsors, how is a small restaurant, convenience store, or family-owned retailer that does collect this data supposed to know whether their technology converts or stores biometric identifier information?
Legislator Morris, they would have to talk to their vendor.
Okay. Again, through you, Madam Chair, to you or any of the other sponsors, if the county says there's no budget impact, does that simply mean the cost is being shifted onto private businesses for this?
That has been asked and answered.
Okay. And final question through you, Madam Chair, to yourself or any of the other sponsors. Why does this bill create a private right of action instead of relying on county enforcement or corrective action?
Legislator Morse, that has been asked and answered. Is there any other discussion? Legislator McCabe?
Madam Chair,
Legislator Milne?
thank you. And my apologies if this has been asked and answered as well, but I don't believe I heard this. Through you, Madam Chair, to the sponsors, before this bill was introduced, have you indeed sat down with the Monroe County or the Rochester Chamber of Commerce to talk about this program and get their input on this as a group of local businesses?
Legislator Milne, no, but I did try to engage Wegmans multiple times, and they did not respond, because Wegmans was a business that we knew was collecting biometric data. So I did attempt to engage the one store that we knew was doing this.
Thank you, and I do appreciate that, but I would think that them being one of the largest, I think we should talk to the full chamber if possible. That was the only question I had. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? Legislator Baynes?
I think we can clear up some confusion, and I'll put this question to you, Ms. Chairwoman, or to the professor. The anonymization relates to the storage. When the business receives an image through its data collection of, let's say, you, professor, walking in, there's no anonymization there because you are immediately identified as the human being who has walked in and who is already in their database. Isn't that correct?
Well, the question is basically how many columns are being stored. If it's just a biometric data, it's purely anonymous. You can't take the templates, the mathematical templates, and associate it with human, for instance, like DNA. It's not linkable to a human unless there's another column, for instance, name.
Yeah, but my point, just to follow up on that, is my image, I'm on their list of shoplifters or thieves. When I walk in, they know that immediately. They don't have to know my name because they have my body and they have my image, and I'm in their store and they've been alerted. So I'm not anonymous to them in the sense that they've identified me.
Right. The question, though, absolutely correct. The question is whether the template itself has some association with your identity. If the template itself does not, that's what we're hoping is the case. If somebody steals the template and the template is associated with a name, that can be used to link your identity across other systems.
Right, okay. Thank you.
Is there any other discussion? Legislator McCabe?
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Through you, I guess it's through you to the administration, has the administration confirmed the county has the authority to prescribe and form in manner of required signs?
Through you, Madam Chairwoman, yes, sort of, if that's an appropriate answer. We were provided a copy of this proposed legislation in February of this year by Legislator Barnhart. And then I believe it was just within a few days, she contacted our department and informed us that there was going to be some additional discussions within the caucuses about this, and there was no need to continue reviewing that initial version of legislation. In late March, we received the second version, if you will, of this proposed legislation, which is, by all accounts, the version that is now being considered by you. The law department was not made aware of when or if this was going to actually be introduced. We were simply asked to start reviewing it, and which we did. We did begin to undertake a review of it, and to be perfectly candid, there are a number of aspects of it that I am of the opinion need to be edited or changed in some places, but we were not ever put in a position to have that further discussion because we were not made aware that it was being brought to the floor for introduction and ultimate vote.
Thank you. May I continue, Madam Chair?
Yes.
Through you. I guess, and I didn't really notice it in legislation, and I haven't heard it answered, who in the county government is going to be responsible for creating, updating, interpreting, and enforcing signage rules?
Legislator McCabe, we don't have a mechanism for the county to be enforcing this local law. We have a private right of action as the enforcement mechanism.
Okay. And through the chair, will businesses be given sample signs of what we expect? Is there like a template from the New York City law you looked at, or?
Legislator McCabe, that's a great idea, and certainly there will be an interim period if this passes where this legislature can offer up that suggestion.
All right, I yield.
Is there any other discussion?
I have a few more.
Legislator Chardy.
Through the chair to the administration, has the county reviewed whether or not this local law is preempted by any state or federal law?
Through you, Madam Chairwoman, no, not specifically. We have not.
Through the chair to the speaker, you indicated that there are potential false positives where a person would come in the store and potentially be embarrassed for being considered a thief or a shoplifter when in fact they were misidentified. Is that correct?
That's been known to happen, yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Wouldn't the fact that knowing a person's name and being able to immediately look at their identification and understanding that they are not the person and immediately being identified as not the person that committed the crime be a substantial tool to perhaps ease that unfortunate circumstance?
Absolutely, but the problem is that when they're identified falsely, that's where they start to become embarrassed and bad things start to happen. They're cleared, they're not the shoplifter, but as they say, the damage is already done at that point.
But wouldn't that occur, you would agree with me, that would occur whether or not a person is known or not known? Once they're flagged, even if they're anonymous, that embarrassment's going to exist, correct?
Yeah, if any false positive, if you didn't do the crime, will be a great source of embarrassment.
So knowing their name or not knowing their name, you're going to be embarrassed regardless,
Well,
correct?
They can find out your name, though, and ban you from the store. That's what happened with Rite Aid. And there were real consequences for real people.
Potentially, correct?
Correct.
How many occasions did that occur with Wegmans? You know, hazard.
I haven't heard of any false positives with Wegmans.
Is there any other discussion? Before we wrap up, I just wanted to thank Legislator Dr. Nazish Jeffries for her contributions to this legislation, and I also wanted to give Legislator Ricky Frazier a quick chance to just explain. He also contributed a lot to the legislation, and just sort of make your case quickly for why you support this.
Sure. Real quickly, I think it's important from the consumer. There are a lot of consumers who feel that this is an infringement. They don't know whether or not biometric data is being done. My own sister, and I won't name the realtor because, again, we don't know whether or not they have it or not, mentioned to me when she saw a camera, oh, I'm not going in that store because I know they are profiling me. Now, she hasn't done anything. And again, this is being done to anybody that walks in the store, your children, your grandchildren. And again, as a consumer, we have a right to not shop at a store if we know that this is going on. So we're looking at it from the protection of and certainly when somebody had asked about government, we know that when you go fly, you're going to be it's done. And that's why we don't do that, because the government has a right to make sure our citizens are safe. Banks have a right to do it because we want to be sure that our financial institutions are sound. But this is the consumer, and the consumer always has choice. The bad guys know that if Wegmans, and we don't even know if Wegmans is doing it in Rochester. We don't know. We're assuming that Wegmans is doing it. They might be doing it only in New York City. They haven't told us. Legislator Barnhart asked that. So again, I think that people will be surprised. Biometrics is not going to go away. Just like right now, if I could talk in my phone, my iPhone, eventually I'll start seeing ads on what I'm talking about. Data and biometrics is not going away. It's only going to increase. And as a body of legislators, we have a responsibility to put laws into place that protect all of our citizens.
Thank you. Legislator Udelson.
Thank you. Through you, I just wanted to mention a few legislators talked about the enforcement aspect, and just observe that the enforcement in this case will really be education. We'll be letting the businesses know about it. I don't think it's anybody's intention to try and catch businesses not complying, but rather to educate them on what they need to do to comply. And I think, for instance, Legislator Milne's idea of engaging the Chamber of Commerce in doing that would be helpful. Another point I just wanted to make as far as questions that were raised, I mean, that's why we have the committee meeting, so that the questions can be asked before we get to the full legislature meeting. But I will make the point just to note that when the leadership met with the administration on June 4th to lay out the agenda for this month's committees and the next full legislature meeting, this referral was included on that list. Thank you.
Thank you. And County Attorney Schwartz, I'll have staff follow up with you tomorrow about this. There being no further discussion,
I have one more.
Legislator Chardy.
Yes, through the chair to the administration, can they make any recommendations relative to what they believe should be changed in the enactment of this?
Are you talking about the legal department?
Yes.
Of course, that's why we're going to follow up.
Do they have any recommendations today?
Well, it didn't sound that way, but,
Through you, Madam Chairwoman, I mean, I do have some of the suggested things that should be changed. Some of them are just, I guess, ministerial. For example, on the first page of the local law, it talks about amending the county code by adding a new chapter. The chapter needs to be changed because the number that's there is already being used. There are other things, for example, under the collection, use, and retention of biometric identifier information. There's a section that requires establishments to destroy the data. I believe it's within 2 years. There probably needs to be some language added, unless otherwise required by law, because there are circumstances where that may need to be kept for over 2 years. There probably needs to be a severability clause added to the end in the event that this is challenged or ultimately passed and then challenged in a courtroom.
Madam Chairwoman?
I'd like the, is this a point of order?
I mean, I think we should, I'd like to make a motion to table. Okay. I mean, if he's. He still has the floor. I understand, but.
We have the ability to amend in a full legislature meeting, and I'm not hearing anything that substantial. And our law department does not have veto power over our legislation, but I value his input and would like you to continue.
That's just a handful of examples. There, like I said, there's some other, like I said, sort of ministerial things. The last one I guess I'd mention is I would suggest naming the law requiring disclosure of biometric identification technology at commercial establishments, not retail establishments, given the definitions that you've proposed as part of this. So I do think it's important for the law department to have an opportunity to discuss or share some of these proposals with you prior to.
I agree.
Prior to any further action on it.
I agree. And since no motion has been made to table.
I'm going to make the motion.
Well, I can say what I think. I believe strongly that because of the length of time it takes to enact local laws, that we can move forward on this, and we have the ability to amend in our full legislature meeting with plenty of notice, because it sounds like he's already done some work on this, with plenty of notice for legislators to see any proposed changes.
I mean, I have concerns with that in regards to, so I'm going to still make my motion to table because I still have some concerns with the 4th of July holiday, et cetera, depending on when the law department gets to it, that basically.
Legislator Chardy, are you done? Because apparently you still had the floor according to our parliamentarian.
I'm done.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
will now recognize you, Legislator McCabe.
All right, I'd like to make a motion to table until the law department, I think it's unfair to try to do legislation at our next legislative meeting that we haven't had time to review. And with the 4th of July holiday, legislators, the law department, et cetera, people are going to be away. I don't think it's appropriate, so I'm going to make a motion to table.
Motion to table?
Roll call vote.
Yes. All right.
Mr. Baynes? Mr. Baynes votes no. Mr. Blankley? Mr. Blankley votes no. Mr. Chardy? Mr. Chardy votes yes. Mr. Long? Mr. Long votes no. Mr. McCabe? Mr. McCabe votes yes. Mr. Milne?
Yes.
Mr. Milne votes yes. Mr. Morris? Mr. Morris votes yes. Mr. Udelson? Mr. Udelson votes no. Chairwoman Barnhart?
No.
Chairwoman Barnhart votes no. 4 to 5, motion to table fails.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Mr. Baynes? Mr. Baynes votes yes. Mr. Blankley? Mr. Blankley votes yes. Mr. Chardy?
No.
Mr. Chardy votes no. Mr. Long? Mr. Long votes yes. Mr. McCabe? Mr. McCabe votes no. Mr. Milne?
No.
Mr. Milne votes no. Mr. Morris? Mr. Morris votes no. Mr. Udelson? Mr. Udelson votes yes. Chairwoman Barnhart?
Yes.
Chairwoman Barnhart votes yes. 5 to 4, referral passes.
Thank you. Next item?
Referral 26-0182, enacting a local law entitled amending Chapter 357 of the Monroe County Code to provide a tax exemption for surviving spouses of police officers killed in the line of duty.
Moved by Legislator Baynes, seconded by Majority Leader Udelson. Is there any discussion? Legislator Long.
I just wanted to explain my vote and express my gratitude. So I'm in support of this, and I'd just like to, I think this is the first time we've introduced legislation where all 29 of the legislators have co-signed sponsorship. So just thank you to everyone that participated, and I'm a yes.
Thank you. Legislator Baynes.
Thank you, Ms. Chairwoman. I want to take this opportunity to explain my vote also. I'd like to thank Legislator Long and Legislator Dondorfer for including me in the development of this local law and for their leadership. We did, in our discussions, take a look at expanding the definition of surviving spouses to not strictly the legal term police officer. And Legislator Long, I think, correctly decided to go forward until we can be empowered by the New York State Legislature to expand this, the number of individuals covered. So we are, just today, I met with Assemblymember Lunsford, and we'll be working to, number one, we'll be celebrating the passage of this very important piece of legislation, but we will also be looking at the opportunity we have to recognize the sacrifice of the firefighters who were murdered and their families, and peace officers in addition to police officers, and possibly other categories of public servants who are murdered in the line of duty. So I wanted to say that in this meeting so that all of the 29 co-signers know that we're working on, not only are we going to get this done, but we're working on maybe broadening this recognition if people agree, and we can't do that without our delegation and state legislation, and that's in the works. So thank you very much, and of course I'm enthusiastically voting yes.
Any other discussion? Legislator McCabe.
Just have a point of information for Legislator Baynes. You mean killed in a line of duty, not murdered, correct?
Thank you for that, because I think the language is super important, so thank you very much.
Is there any other discussion? Seeing none? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Is there any other business to come before this committee? I just want to thank everyone for the discussion. I thought I learned a lot, and I thought it was very productive, and I thought the questions were really good. And I'd like to thank Professor Weissman. I don't know if he left, but okay. Well, I thought his expertise was very helpful. So there being no other matters to come before this committee, the June 22nd, 2026 meeting of the Agenda Charter Committee is adjourned. We meet again July 27th.
Thank you. I'd like to start with just a little tidbit of information for our reflection. This week, it comes to us from a new publication on June 18th from the Solar Energy Industries Association. They've produced an interactive map. Solar development uses 0.04% of total U.S. land and 0.07% of U.S. prime farmland. There are no states where 0.5%, with more than 0.5% of prime farmland being used by solar development. Just thought that was really interesting, and that in nearly every state, there's more abandoned prime farmland than solar developed parcels, with nationally being 43 acres of abandoned prime farmland for every acre of solar. And interestingly, golf courses alone use 2.6 times as much prime farmland as solar development, and suburban development just since 2014 uses roughly 6 times as much. So land use is certainly an important matter, and it's good to get some facts. So, thanks. Is there anyone signed up for the public forum?
We have one speaker signed up to speak. Would Terrence Schnurr please come forward?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Over the course of my adult life, amid growing recognition of the anthropogenicity of climate change, the quality and coverage of RTS has diminished. Today, although the western outer towns together have more people than most regional counties, each of which has its own transit service, transit in those towns is all but non-existent. There have been 2 major local drivers of that decline: fear of the city among town residents and a misguided decision more than nearly 50 years ago to give RTS responsibility for transporting older city students. Putting Band-Aids on the foreseeable consequences of that bad decision have been a preoccupation of RTS for decades, to the detriment of its core mission. If we want to improve transit, we should start by decoupling RTS from school transportation and create a Western Monroe transit service probably centered around Parma Corners. That may be complicated, but if we are serious about doing our part about climate, we will find a way. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schnurr. Is there anyone present who's not signed up to speak who would like to address the committee at this time? Okay. The next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. You have the May 18th, 2026 minutes of the Environment and Public Works Committee before you. They will stand approved unless the clerk is notified of any changes by the end of the day. The next item on the agenda is new business. Madam Clerk.
Referral number 26-0186, acceptance of a municipal waste reduction and recycling grant and aid from the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation for a municipal waste reduction and/or recycling project for recycling salaries and public education.
Second.
Moved by Legislator Tavecchio Hoffman, second by Legislator Maffucci. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral number 26-0187, classification of action and determination of significance pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act for the conveyance of a permanent easement for the Rochester Gas and Electric Improvement Project in the town of Gates.
Move it.
Moved by legislator Maffucci, seconded by Dr. Jeffrey. Is there any discussion? Legislator?
Through the chair, I realize that we're just looking at the seeker here, but I was trying to get a little bit of an idea of what is actually going to be happening in this project. Am I allowed to ask what's actually happening in this project? Through the chair?
To the administration. Yeah.
To the administration, obviously. Yes, sorry.
Good.
Amy Grandy, through the chair, on behalf of Real Property. This is for a new gas line for the RG&E.
And through the chair to the administration, will it be going under? Will it be going over? Where's the gas line is going underneath? Yes? Sorry, I'm thinking of. Okay. Okay, perfect. Sorry. Obviously, if it's gas, it's going underneath. Okay. Thank you very much, and I yield.
Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral number 26-0189, classification of action and determination of significance pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act for the acceptance of maintenance jurisdiction, approximately .004 acre of right-of-way for former New York State Highway route number 1499A, Town of Henrietta.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by legislator Hoffman, seconded by legislator Maffucci. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral number 26-0191, classification of action and designation of lead agency and determination of significance pursuant to State Environmental Quality Review Act to authorize additions to the Monroe County Consolidated Agricultural District Number 5.
Second.
Moved by legislator Hoffman, seconded by legislator Maffucci. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Other matters, are there any other matters to come before this committee? Legislator Jeffrey.
Madam Chair, thank you. Through you to the administration. Recently, on June 9th, there was a really interesting article that came out in the Rochester Beacon talking about how the Climate Action Fund, which is amazing and extremely needed, and we are grateful that we have it, may not be in lockstep with other policies within the county. What I would like to learn a little bit more with the administration's help is what the administration is planning on doing to make sure that the Climate Action Fund is getting incorporated into the many wonderful policies that the county has, and how the legislature may be of help with all that.
Legislator, we can follow up with you and make sure we answer your questions.
Thank you. I yield.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, I have a quick question for the administration. I've received some question regarding Raju, and wondering if you all have an update on the status of the Raju project?
We have no further updates at this time, but if you follow up with the questions you have, we can follow up with you, Legislator.
Great, and do you know, have we been provided with any kind of anticipated emissions data or a life cycle assessment in those initial conversations?
No, not at this time.
Okay.
Through the chair, sorry.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, there being no other matters, the June 22nd, 2026 meeting of the Environment and Public Works Committee stands adjourned. The next meeting in the Environment and Public Works Committee will be held on Monday, July 27th, 2026 at 5:15 p.m.
Good evening. The June 22nd, 2026 meeting of the Intergovernmental Relations Committee will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Legislator Hughes-Smith. Legislator Hughes-Smith is present. Legislator Johns is excused. Legislator Long? Legislator Long is present. Legislator McIntyre? Legislator McIntyre is present. Chairman Blankley?
Here.
Chairman Blankley is present.
Is there anyone signed up for the public forum?
There is not.
Is there anyone present who is not signed up for the public forum that would like to speak to the committee at this time? Seeing none, the next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. You do have the May 18th, 2026 minutes of the Intergovernmental Relations Committee before you. They will stand approved unless the clerk is notified of any changes by the end of the day. And the next item on the agenda is new business. Madam Clerk.
Referral number 26-0194, authorize an intermunicipal agreement with Monroe, number 1, Board of Cooperative Education Services for the Monroe County Sheriff's Office School Resource Program.
Moved by Legislator Long, seconded by Legislator Hughes-Smith. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The item carries. Are there any other matters to come before this committee? Seeing none, the June 22nd, 2026 meeting of the Intergovernmental Relations Committee stands adjourned. The next meeting will be held Monday, July 27th at 5:30 p.m. Thank you.
The June 22nd, 2026 meeting of the Planning and Economic Development Committee will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Chardy? Mr. Chardy is present. Ms. Hasman? Ms. Hasman is present. Dr. Jeffrey? Dr. Jeffrey is present. Mr. Johns is excused. Chairman Frazier?
Here.
Chairman Frazier is present.
Is there anyone signed up for the public forum?
There is not.
Is there anyone present who is not signed up to speak who would like to address the committee at this time? Being none, the next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. You have the May 18th, 2026 minutes before you. They will stand approved unless the clerk is notified of any changes by the end of the day. The next item on the agenda is new business. Madam Clerk?
Referral number 26-0188, authorize the conveyance of a permanent easement to the Rochester Gas and Electric for the Rochester Gas and Electric Improvement Project in the town of Gates.
Moved by Legislator Dr. Jeffrey and seconded by Legislator Hasman. Is there any discussion?
Just a few questions for the
Legislator
administration.
Chardy.
Yes, through the chair to the administration, this land, what is it currently being used for?
Through the chair, Amy Grandy, Monroe County Real Property. It's unimproved land. It's just an easement through the land. There's no buildings in this area.
And is that an expansion of, through the chair again, through the administration, is that an expansion of the current easement for like a new project or a current project?
Through the chair, it's part of the Brooks Avenue Improvement Project for the gas line.
I have no further.
Is there any other discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral number 26-0192, authorize additions to the Monroe County Consolidated Agricultural District Number 5.
Moved by Legislator Dr. Jeffrey, seconded by Legislator Hasman. Is there any discussion?
No.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Are there any other matters to come before this committee? There being no other matters, the June 22nd, 2026 meeting of the Planning and Economic Development Committee will remain open, stands adjourned. The next meeting of the Planning and Economic Development Committee will be Monday, July 27th, 2026 at 5:45 p.m.
The June 22nd, 2026 meeting of the Public Safety Committee will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Burgess. Mr. Burgess is present. Mr. Colby. Mr. Colby is present. Mr. Cruz is excused. Mr. Dondorfer. Mr. Dondorfer is present. Mr. Maffucci. Mr. Maffucci is present. Mr. McCabe. Mr. McCabe is present. Mr. Milne is excused. Mr. Stepherson. Mr. Stepherson is present. Ms. Smith.
Here.
Ms. Smith is present. Ms. Vasquez Simmons. Ms. Vasquez Simmons is present. Chairman Long.
Here.
Chairman Long is present.
Will you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Madam Clerk, has anyone signed up for the public forum?
No, there's not.
The next item on our agenda is the approval of minutes. You have the May 19th, 2026 minutes before you. They will stand approved unless the clerk is notified of any changes by the end of the day. The next item on our agenda is new business. Madam Clerk.
Referral 26-0180, local law requiring disclosure of biometric identification technology at retail establishments.
Moved by Legislator Maffucci, seconded by Legislator Vasquez Simmons. Are there any questions or discussion? Legislator McCabe.
I just have one. Is there anything that prevents an employer from continuing to use biometric data for employees checking in, et cetera?
Who are you directing that question to, sir?
I guess somebody, I mean, I know it's through the chair to somebody on the committee,
Okay.
I guess, or somebody that,
Someone
sponsor, sorry.
Is there a sponsor that would like to respond to that? Legislator Barnhart.
Sorry, I should have been prepared. Thank you. Legislator McCabe, you're asking if the legislation would prohibit other uses for like scanning faces no, the legislation would not. This is for, no. But funny you mentioned that. Wegmans piloted this.
Through the chair.
Through the chair. Wegmans actually piloted this using employees first, and they did tell their employees that they were doing it. You could Google, there were news stories initially that they were testing out this system using employees.
Thank you, I yield.
Any other questions or discussion? Seeing none, how about we do a roll call vote?
Mr. Burgess. Mr. Burgess votes yes. Mr. Colby. No. Mr. Colby votes no. Mr. Dondorfer. No. Mr. Dondorfer votes no. Mr. Maffucci. Yes. Mr. Maffucci votes yes. Mr. McCabe. Mr. McCabe votes no. Mr. Stepherson.
Yes.
Mr. Stepherson votes yes. Ms. Smith.
No.
Ms. Smith votes no. Ms. Vasquez Simmons. Yes. Ms. Vasquez Simmons votes yes. Mr. Long.
Yes.
Mr. Long votes yes. 5-4, referral passes.
All right, next item, please.
Referral 26-0193, acceptance of funding from the Office of Justice Programs through a subcontract with the Unified Court System of New York State for a New York State Overdose Intervention Initiative.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Legislator Maffucci, seconded by Legislator Vasquez Simmons. Is there any discussion or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, please.
Referral 26-0194, authorize an intermunicipal agreement with the Monroe No. 1 Board of Cooperative Educational Services for the Monroe County Sheriff's Office School Resource Program.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Legislator Maffucci, second by Legislator Vasquez Simmons. Is there any questions or discussion? Legislator Maffucci.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Just explaining my vote. Obviously, I'll be supporting this. As a retired superintendent of schools, I have to say, when it was initially presented to have a school resource officer at my school, I was a little hesitant. But we hired somebody. It was one of the best things we ever did. That resource officer stopped so many issues from getting into the school. Fabulous program, so very supportive of this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions or discussion? Legislator Dondorfer.
Thank you. I'm inspired by the legislator and his comments. Seeing firsthand how these programs work and seeing that these officers interact with kids on a day-to-day basis it's twofold, right? Legislator Maffucci made the comment that he stopped a lot of things coming into that school, but the reality is that these kids build relationships with these officers. They help in their family lives, they help in their daily lives, and just the benefit that comes from having a school resource officer right there, it builds that relationship that we have constantly looked for between the police and the community, and this is one of the first steps, and it's one of the best steps. So I wholeheartedly support this as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or discussion?
I'd just like to add one other
Legislator
point
Stepherson.
to piggyback on Legislator Dondorfer through the chair. Having worked for 25 years in law enforcement and have gone through the training of an SRO, I can certainly champion that it is a well-needed program. The officers, if the right officers are in the school system, are invaluable. And so definitely making sure that not only the money is placed in that program, but also the selection process is taken intentional to make sure we have the right officers in the school environment so that they can be an asset to the faculty, the staff, as well as the students. Because they're their first interaction with law enforcement, and if they're not the right ones, then it can be a lasting impression. So I certainly support this as well.
Thank you. Any more questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item passes. Legislator Smith, did you vote yes?
Yes, I voted aye.
Got it. Thank you. All right, item passes. Next item, please.
Referral 26-0195, amend Resolution 430 of 2025 to amend the contract with Savant Advisors to provide a qualified consultant for monitoring medical services at the Monroe County Jail.
Moved by Legislator Maffucci, second by Legislator Vasquez Simmons. Is there any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, please.
Referral 26-0195.
Nope.
No, wait, no. Yes, 26-0196, amend Resolution 75 of 2026 to accept additional funding from the United States Department of Justice, United States Marshals Service, Western District of New York, for United States Marshals Service, NYNJ Regional Fugitive Task Force, Rochester Division.
Moved by Legislator Maffucci, second by Legislator Vasquez Simmons. Is there any question or discussion? Legislator Vasquez Simmons.
Through the chair, Chief Deputy Fowler for the Sheriff's Office. May I ask you to repeat the question? Through the chair, no, there's no specific reason for that. It's across the board with federal grants. No local specific reason.
Is there any other question or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, please.
Referral 26-0199, confirmation of the appointment of the conflict defender.
Moved by Legislator Maffucci, second by Legislator Vasquez Simmons. Is there any question or discussion? Legislator McCabe.
Through the chair, why is this a matter of importance, and why has this vacancy not been filled for the last 5 months?
Richard Tantello, Director of Public Safety. Through the chair, in regards to this, it's a matter of importance because we've been attempting to get the referral on the agenda, and through scheduling issues and things of that matter, through no one's fault, it's been delayed.
And it is a follow-up through the chair. Is that why it's been delayed to 5 months, is because of that scheduling delay?
Well, through the chair, there was a selection process which is rather unique for us because we go through the process under the guise and suggestion of the Monroe County Bar Association. So they will send us over applicants for the position. We subsequently review those in conjunction with the Bar Association, and then interviews are held. So that extra step, which is important to do, just delays us a little bit.
Thank you. And one more follow-up question. That was filled previously by conflict defender Funk, correct? Is he gone or is he still there?
So Mark Funk, through the chair, is currently in charge of the assigned counsel program.
Okay.
Mark Funk previously served as the conflict defender, and then there was another individual who took the conflict defender's position when Mr. Funk left for ACP, and then that individual who replaced Mark has left the county.
Thank you, Director Tantillo. I yield.
Any other question or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Are there any other matters to come before this committee? There being no other matters, the June 22nd, 2026 meeting of the Public Safety Committee will stands adjourned. The next meeting of the Public Safety Committee will be held on Tuesday, July 28th, 2026 at 5:30 p.m.
The June 22nd, 2026 meeting of the Transportation Committee will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Bonnick. Here. Ms. Bonnick is present. Mr. Colby. Here. Mr. Colby is present. Mr. Frazier. Here. Mr. Frazier is present. Ms. Hasman. Here. Ms. Hasman is present. Mr. Keller. Here. Mr. Keller is present. Ms. Smith.
Here.
Ms. Smith is present. Chairman Burgess.
Here.
Chairman Burgess is present.
Is there anyone signed up for the public forum?
No, there's not.
Is there anyone present who is not signed up to speak who would like to address the committee at this time? All right. The next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. You have the May 19, 2026 minutes of the Transportation Committee before you. They will stand approved unless the clerk is notified of any changes by the end of the day. The next item on the agenda is new business. Madam Clerk.
Referral 26-0190. Accept maintenance jurisdiction of approximately .004 acre of right-of-way for former New York State Highway route number 1499A, Town of Henrietta.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Legislator Bonnick, seconded by Legislator Hasman. Are there any discussions? Legislator Colby.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, why is the New York State Transportation transferring the jurisdiction of the right-of-way?
Through the chair, Amy Grandy from Monroe County Real Property. They are transferring the jurisdiction of a tiny little square of a state route to the county so that the county can turn around and transfer it to the town and end up having ownership go to the buyer of the Cartwright Inn for redevelopment purposes. But it has to start with the state.
Okay, so why couldn't the state just do it directly to Cartwright? Why does it have to be a three-step through, Mr. Chairman?
That is a wonderful question, through the chair.
All right, thank you.
Any other discussions? All right, no other discussions. All those in favor, Legislator Kobe.
So if the private individuals that own Cartwright receiving this, is somewhere along the line they're going to have to pay to receive this property? You thought you were getting out easy, didn't you? Through the chair.
I'm messing up my time frame, Legislator Kobe.
Through the chair, those processes are still being worked through finalization.
Thank you.
Any other discussions? All right, with no other discussions, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Are there any other matters to come before this committee? Nope. With there being no other matters, the June 22nd, 2026 meeting of the Transportation Committee stands adjourned. The next meeting of the Transportation Committee will be held on Tuesday, July 28th, 2026 at 5:15 p.m.
Good evening, everyone. The June 22nd, 2026 meeting of the Ways and Means Committee will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Barnhart. Ms. Barnhart is present. Ms. Bartholomew McCoy.
Present.
Ms. Bartholomew McCoy is present. Mr. Baynes. Mr. Baynes is present. Mr. Colby. Mr. Colby is present. Mr. Dondorfer. Mr. Dondorfer is present. Mr. Keller. Mr. Keller is present. Mr. McCabe. Mr. McCabe is present. Ms. Smith.
Here.
Ms. Smith is present. Ms. Vasquez Simmons. Ms. Vasquez Simmons is present. Mr. Udelson. Mr. Udelson is present. Mr. Chairman Maffucci.
Here.
Chairman Maffucci is present.
Will Legislator Bartholomew McCoy please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Are there any speakers signed up for the public forum?
No, there's not.
Is there anyone here who would like to address the committee at this time? At this time, we will have a presentation by Mr. Randy Shepard, Independent Auditor from Bonadeo and Company. Mr. Shepard. Welcome.
Good evening, everybody. Through the chair, Randy Shepard from Bonadeo and Company. I'm going to be going over really just a high-level summary of the audit process here for the audit for the county that's completed. One of the things that we issue that I'll talk through, and I think you received this electronically, is a required communications letter that goes to the county legislature, which talks about really some of the key factors that we address with you. First of which is the accounting policies that the county follows. There were no new accounting policies this year in the audit of the county, and all the transactions that were entered into and that were recorded were all in accordance with authoritative guidance. There was nothing that was, on the fence or iffy whatsoever. Everything was right in line. From an estimate perspective, because every set of financial statements has some element of estimation within that, there are 4 significant estimates that we identify with the county's financial statements. The first of which is the other post-employment benefits obligation. That's is an actuarially based estimate. We look at those assumptions and make sure that they're reasonable. The other one relates to allowance for uncollectible accounts related to bankruptcies, tax surcharges, et cetera. The net pension liability or asset, which is related to the county's share of the state retirement system, that is picked up on the county's books, that is also actuarially driven, as well as an estimate of the compensated absences liability. So what you may pay out in the future for employees that have accrued time at their current rates. And as I said, we look at all the methods and assumptions that the county uses to come up with those assumptions to make sure they're reasonable. From an estimate perspective, from a sensitivity, there are certain disclosures that are sensitive and really only because they could change dramatically because of actuarial changes, and those are the pension obligation as well as the OPEB obligation. Those are the 2 most significant. Difficulties encountered in performing the audit. This is important because we are hired, obviously, by the legislature to perform our tasks, but we do work with management throughout that process. And so, we want to make sure that you're aware that that process went very well. The finance department is well prepared. They're very accessible and up to date with the things that needed to get done, even in light of the conversion process going on with the software. And so that went very well. So thank you to Jennifer and her entire team from that perspective. Corrected and uncorrected misstatements. There were no audit adjustments that we identified as part of the audit, which is also very important for you to note and very, very good. From a process perspective, we had no disagreements with management as part of our audit process. Everything went very well. We're also not aware of any what they call opinion shopping, which is something we're required to disclose. If we're aware that management, let's say, was talking to another firm about a matter that we raised, we would want to make sure that they had all the appropriate information, but no such thing occurred. And throughout the year, which is actually part of the relationship that we have, they do ask us questions throughout the year to make sure that They're on the right track, but none of those discussions or questions are a condition of our retention, right? And that's important to make sure we maintain our independence. So we did issue, and you already received copies of that, the unmodified opinion on the audit of the county. That's the highest level of assurance that we can give as an audit firm. And so that's important for you. From a single audit perspective, we do perform an audit of the federal award programs for the county. We're in the middle of planning, and we'll be starting that testing very shortly. And there'll be 6 programs that we're testing this year, just for information. One of them is the Airport Improvement Program, Highway Planning and Construction, the TANF Program, Social Services Block Grant, Medical Assistance, and the Hazard Mitigation. So those 6 programs are ones that we'll be looking at and testing for compliance. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to address them, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Shepherd. Are there any questions? Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. You have the minutes from the May 19th, 2026 meeting before you. They will stand approved unless the clerk is notified of any changes by the end of the day.
Mr. Chairman,
Oh, yes.
a couple things in the minutes.
Oh, yeah, go right ahead.
Sure. Ranking Member Smith and Vice Chair Udelson's titles are not listed under members present and members absent. The motion to move the entire agenda, or move all the agenda items, does not have the vote count listed with that. And there's a typo under the adjournment where your name's listed twice, sir.
Thank you. So, Mr. Parliamentarian, how do we proceed?
No, they won't be approved.
Pardon me?
And they won't be approved, they'll be added to the next
Next meeting?
committees,
Okay.
yep, to be approved.
Thank you. Anything else? Thank you. The next item on the agenda is new business. Are you ready?
Yes.
Madam Clerk.
Referral 26-0182, enacting a local law entitled amending Chapter 357 of the Monroe County Code to provide a tax exemption for surviving spouses of police officers killed in the line of duty.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Legislator Udelson, seconded by Legislator Vasquez Simmons. Is there any discussion? Seconded by Legislator Dondorfer. Any questions? Legislator Baynes, a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those ifs, Legislator Baynes.
I think because this committee maybe gets more views online, I'd like to quickly repeat what I said at the earlier meeting. I want to thank Legislator Long and Legislator Dondorfer for their leadership on this referral, and thank them for including me. The language of the law is very specific as to what officers can receive, surviving spouses of officers who are fallen in the line of duty who are eligible. So we are looking at expanding there'll be a second referral, we're hoping, if the state legislature, and we're working with Assemblymember Jen Lunsford, I met with her today, because this doesn't include, for instance, peace officers, it doesn't include probation officers, it doesn't include because we are not authorized to do that. So this is very good news. It's a wonderful piece of legislation, but just to get it out in the public domain before we have our any coverage of it by the media, if there is any, we want folks to know that we're working on a more expansive piece of legislation which would make it possible for possibly firefighters, et cetera, to make their families also eligible. So I just wanted to put that out there. And as I explained my vote tonight, I'm obviously voting with great enthusiasm. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Legislator Baynes. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 26-0186, acceptance of a municipal waste reduction and recycling grant and aid from the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation for a municipal waste reduction and/or recycling project for recycling salaries in public education.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Legislator Udelson, seconded by Legislator Vasquez Simmons. Is there any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Legislator Baynes.
Through you to the administration, the waste reduction part of the program, can you speak to, either tonight or possibly in some future time, what metrics are available or what data we have available for the efficacy of the program in terms of waste reduction, whether it's tonnage or type of waste or specific programs municipalities are implementing to try to reduce waste?
Through the chair, yes, we can provide the reports that we provide to the New York State DEC for waste diversion. That's both at a at a residential, industrial level, commercial level as well. We report that annually. And I can say with this program, our program wouldn't be as successful without the outreach that our two educators provide in the community. And the state grant offsets their cost by up to 50%, as well as our expenses that we have to get out into the community. And there's a huge demand for the information that we have because folks want to recycle right. And without the program that we have, we would not be able to achieve the success that we've achieved over the years, both at the curb, but also at the Eco Park. And the Eco Park is really one of a kind in the country to divert hard to dispose of and yet recyclable and recoverable materials. So our educators have been very, very active in the community. I can't point to the number of tons that their efforts result in terms of diversion, but I can point to the information that we've shared. We've been out to 90 events by two educators, reaching out to over 5,000 residents. We've attended all major festivals. We have a very active community that subscribes to our newsletter, and we have 25,000 folks signed up for that with a 66% open rate. And in 2025, we handed out over 50,000 educational resources in terms of fridge magnets, information cards, and whatnot. And the educators also responded to over 2,100 calls and emails from residents asking questions about how they can recycle right. So it's a very, very popular topic and really is the key to success, I think, in our residential recycling program. But I'd be happy to share more information relative to metrics in terms of diversion from waste from the landfill.
Thank you. That's wonderful data, and I appreciate it. And any more information, we can continue to celebrate this program, the more we know. Thank you. I yield.
And through the chair, I may offer, too, that we do have offsetting revenue from our recycling program that would really essentially offset the cost of the county's share in this expense, too.
Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I move that we consider the rest of the agenda as a whole with the exception of items number 26, 195, and 26, 198.
Moved by Legislator Udelson, seconded by Legislator Dondorfer. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 26-0195, amend Resolution 430 of 2025 to amend the contract with Savant Advisors to provide a qualified consultant for monitoring medical services at the Monroe County Jail.
Moved by Legislator Udelson, seconded by Legislator Vasquez Simmons. Is there any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Legislator Baynes.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, to the administration, do we have any, can we cite an example of when the monitoring identified an issue that we were able to remediate? Could it be in the last year or in recent memory?
Through the chair, can you repeat the question?
Absolutely. Through the chair, this program, as I understand it, is designed to identify areas where medical services could be improved. And can we cite an example where this effort has led to an amelioration of an issue or an improvement of medical services at the jail?
Through the chair,
One example I can think of would be the impact when we started Cap Court, and then we had the auditor take a look at the number of nurses that were assigned to central booking, and we made some adjustments through there.
Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 26-0198, authorize a contract with All New York Process Servers, Inc. for tax foreclosure outreach services.
Moved by Legislator Udelson, seconded by Legislator Vasquez Simmons. Is there any discussion? Legislator Barnhart.
Thank you. Through the chair to the administration, how often does it happen? I mean, we've had people come here to complain about this issue. How often does it happen where someone says, oh my goodness, my house is being foreclosed upon, I didn't know?
Through the chair, I am not aware of a specific example of that. I can check with our Treasury office and get back to you on that question.
Thanks. Through the chair to the administration, then my next question that follows is, what is the problem that this legislation is attempting to solve?
Through the chair, there has been a lot of discussion in this chamber regarding the foreclosure process and the desire to make it more transparent and make sure that the people that are getting foreclosure notices are really aware and, that we're not foreclosing on grandma or somebody elderly or without them receiving and understanding and knowing what's happening to their home. So I think this is just an effort on our part to get more information, make sure more information is out there for people, and to make actual contact with people. Right now, we send letters, but this will make it so that people are actually contacted.
Through the chair to the administration, most of the discussion that's taken place in this chamber has been concern about people losing their homes to small amounts of unpaid taxes. So what happens, okay, you get in touch with someone, are any resources going to be offered to people who are contacted through this service?
Through the chair, there's a whole list of resources on the county website and the Treasury Department that speaks to resources that people can contact if they are having trouble or need assistance. And I would hope that, part of the communication to them will be those resources and who to contact.
Through the chair to the administration, I went through my email and I honestly might be imagining this, seeing this before, and I apologize if I'm imagining this, but have you ever compiled a list of people who are believed to be in owner-occupied homes, like the number of people in owner-occupied homes that we are foreclosing upon, either on an annual basis or whatever time period you've looked at? Do we have statistics on what kinds of properties that we're taking through this process?
Through the chair, we've had a lot of discussions about this internally. We don't keep a list of owner-occupied properties. We take educated guesses on what properties are owner-occupied. If the mailing address for the bill is the same as the address for the taxes, we assume it's owner-occupied. So we don't with those assumptions, we do know, today, well, as of June 9th, we have 596 single owner-occupied residences that are delinquent with their taxes.
Through the chair to the administration, and you know that because you've matched the address where the taxes go to the name on the property.
Through the chair, that's correct.
Got it. So you have 596. And of those 596, do you have an average amount or a range? Yeah, I guess I'm saying average amount. Like, what are we talking about most of those homeowners owe in back taxes?
Through the chair, I don't have that information with me. I can get you that information.
Yeah, I think this committee would really appreciate that. I'd just like to explain my vote. I am very supportive of this effort. I'm a little concerned that the investment that we're making in this, it's really not even equal to a full-time position. And I guess what bothers me is I'd like to see a little more investment in that next step for those 596 people who could be reached by this processing company. What is that next step beyond just handing them paperwork? And also just kind of understanding a little bit more about them, because some of them might actually not be in a position to keep their homes. They might have already entered a nursing home, for example. So I'd be interested in getting more data and a little more investment into that next step. But I absolutely support this effort and appreciate the administration moving in this direction. So I will be voting yes.
Legislator Udelson.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to comment that this is a result, or I think a continued effort to have cooperation between the legislature and the administration. That's been very helpful. As has been noted, we've had several speakers over the years talking about foreclosure and the notification process and that. We've had several discussions expressing our caucus's concern. I know our colleagues across the aisle also don't want to see people get foreclosed on if possible. We had, after a conversation I had with the county executive, we had a meeting with a couple of legislators, myself and the administration, earlier this spring, just to talk about different things that could be done. And the idea was floated about the people who have very small balances that are due and whether those could be forgiven. And we learned that by law, we're not authorized to do that. So we talked about the other things that are available, one being that people have the ability to designate a proxy to get notifications for them, and that possibly in addition to the administration's efforts, us as individual legislators might be able to help with that outreach. Some are doing that already. So I just wanted to say I'm glad to see that an issue that was raised by the legislature as a concern is getting attention and some resources from the administration. So I'll be voting in favor as well.
Legislative Vice President Simmons.
Thank you. Through you to the administration. Can you tell us a little bit about the touch points, the visits, the site visits to some of these properties? One of my biggest concern is the large number of homes that are on this tax foreclosure list that are under $3,000. So with this new program, and I'm thrilled to see that there is a step in the right, this is a step in the right direction. How many touch points are we making here as far as physical visits?
Through the chair, there would be one physical visit.
Okay. Through you to the administration, is the touch point when you're actually putting on the foreclosure notice?
Through the chair, I'm sorry, can you clarify your question? I'm not sure I understand.
Through you to the administration, you mentioned that there's just one visit, physical visit that's at these properties. What does that one visit entail? Is it a conversation? Is it you're handing paper? What does that entail?
Through the chair, the visit would be the contracted provider going and trying to make contact with the homeowner, so ringing the doorbell. Obviously, they don't work for the county. They're not, they can give them information. What they're going to be doing is handing them the information.
Okay, thank you. I do want to explain my vote. This is something that I've been concerned with the large number of foreclosures in my district. I've done outreach myself. I found some sources of funding for this, so I'm thrilled to see this. Again, this is a step in the right direction. And I thank the administration for allowing the conversation. I've met with the county executive as well and provided some ideas as far as outreach efforts that I've done that I'd like to see the county take on as well. So thank you. I yield.
Any other discussion? I have just one quick question. Can you remind me, when someone's delinquent on their taxes, how long are they delinquent before they're actually told it could be foreclosed?
Through the chair, so by the time the actual auction occurs, they would have been delinquent for in excess of a year. So we are currently, this in-rem tax foreclosure goes back to 2024.
So I actually have.
It's almost 2 years, yep.
Yeah, so having somebody do this outreach is a very good idea, because the timeline is relatively quick. Yes, Legislator Udelson.
I'm sorry, I just, after that last answer from the administration, through you, I would just want to clarify that when we vote on the roll that comes to us in the spring or foreclosure, at that point, though, they're more than a year delinquent on their payments. Is that correct?
Through the chair, yes, that's correct.
Yeah, my understanding is it's usually more like 2.5 years. And then the other thing I'll just add as a point of information is that even after we vote on that list, there's still a 6-month period before the auction, and people can make a payment arrangement or take other steps to get themselves off of that list. Thank you.
Thank you, Legislator Udelson. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. There being no other matters, are there any other matters to come before the committee? Yes.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The administration last month said they would be looking into whether there were any legal issues regarding last month's Monday committee meetings that did not have audio. Were they able to find anything?
Through the chair, yes, we did look into that, and we determined that there was not any issue. It was, in essence, a one-time event, and so long as it doesn't become a continued problem, then there was no issue.
Okay, I just have one additional item. For those people interested in the current state of the county's finances, you can go to the county website, the budget page, and the annual comprehensive financial report is there, and you can compare that report to previous years. You can go back quite far to see that, quite honestly, through a bipartisan approach to the legislature and the hard work of the administration, the county is in a pretty good financial shape. Obviously, we won't know what happens with state aid and federal aid probably till after the midterm election. So I urge everyone, pay attention, because nothing happens without money. And we want to make sure we can continue to improve our services in a cost-effective way. So,
Chairman?
Yes.
Can we also just get on the record my question from earlier today about the Carestream building? I noted in the county clerk's website that you've completed the sale. Congratulations. The sale price was not listed. And so I was just wondering, is it really done? What did we pay? And I'm assuming we can talk about it if it's done.
And I was told it was.
Okay.
That it's $4 million, but when those of us that have purchased property know that when you pay for something, there's a variety of fees that sometimes adjust what the actual cost is, so.
Yeah, that wasn't recorded, so I'm hoping we can just get the final information and just confirmation that it's okay to talk about
And
this.
I
the
asked for it,
purchase.
so I sure hope
I
I get the
appreciate
answer.
it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? There being no other matters, the June 22nd, 2026 meeting of the Ways and Means Committee stands adjourned. The next meeting of the Ways and Means Committee will be held Tuesday, July 28th, 2026 at 6 p.m.